Hello and welcome to another modelling video. This is Alan from the Mukuna Man at YouTube with another Mecha Musume custom. The previous week we had a look at the Mexican manufacturer Stug 372nd model, and when I bought this at the swap meet there was runners in there for two kits. The gentleman who sold it to me did not have the second box and just rammed it all in there, which was really convenient for me doing the sort of customs, build one out of the box and play around with a Gashapon figure from Neon Genesis Mari made by Bandai. So first step, once I lop off the figure's legs, I measure it up and cut a bit of styrene tubing, actually block tubing from evergreen to represent the thighs and legs. Slight extra length is acceptable always, though I don't want it to be walking like her kneecaps are locked in. So they've been separated so there could be a demonstration of articulation through putty, through some sort of rubber. The only modification besides the removal of the legs is also the shortening of the skirt for the true Fukuman style Mecha Musume, completely pantsless and showing a bit of fan service. So once I had the basic styrene frame done and added an extra bit for the foot, I commenced with decorating it with the said kit. I got the main hull and chopped it up with a fine saw to get as many little bits and pieces, a nice raised detail such as these pieces, as possible on a clean piece, and sanded it back to be flash. The weapons on the bag, which is very simple, is super glued. The rest is all styrene, most notably the tracks. Possibly the most difficult part was the tiny bit of detail on either side of the tracks. They were very finely sliced with a saw from random detail on the edging of the tank. Rotating, and we're starting to see that at the knee joints there's a bit of rubber for articulation of the feet. This is a fixed figure, but suggesting it is very important. And this particular kit has a wonderful array of detail and plating, so it was tricky carving these details out and sticking it on, but the reward is most definitely worth it. The rear detail, the armor plating, is sticking out a bit, and it's a bit random. I think once primed and some paint applied to it, oh shit! Once primed and slightly painted, I think it's going to come out quite beautifully. The only work left is a tiny bit of putty work. The styrene bin, just for 72nd tank parts, because I'm not going to use it anywhere else, is slowly filling up and will definitely be a lot more flexible for future Mecha Musume builds. So a separate bits box is useful and very healthy. Between a little putty and sand work, as scrap and scratch building is a messy job and you have a nice clean finish, I primed all of the mechanical pieces with the Vallejo acrylic surface primer. Absolutely amazing for hand painting, and just followed hand painting the rest of the detail the exact same colours I painted the Stug Free. The only difference is the camouflage is not feathered via airbrush, but rather hand brush painted. Once painted, some Citadel wash was used to pick up all the detail, and the mini Flames of War 1/100 scale World War II decals really came in handy. Everything was sealed up with Tamiya clear matte, heavily thinned down, can be applied by a brush on a few layers, or a very tight control via airbrush, which is what I did. Yet again, I've got a very unique, interesting subject to put out there for show. The detail nicely pops. Being camouflaged this time brings a lot more interest. The characteristics of the Stug 3, the armor planting on the sides and whatnot, really comes out in this model. You can identify what sort of armor it is as a tank destroyer, at the same time keeping with the original Mecha Musume world and genre. I'm very, very pleased with this build. I don't have any more on the go at the moment besides a largish special build, though as always this was an absolute bucket of fun. The figure was touched up in a few places with paint, roughly the rim of the skirt where it got chopped, and the tie got repainted to keep with the general scheme of the entire project. All in all, a highly recommended method of modelling and ideology that I love to put out there. So much fun to build these customs, and a very rewarding experience at the end, even though they are time consuming, though surprisingly not so costly. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, always the same content, tutorials, mecha, and in between your 70-second armor and the Mecha Musume. Catch you guys later. For those who are still watching, this was just a tiny little side project I took interest in. I was in a second-hand gashapon figure shop in Japan and bought, I think, either my second or third Russian T-34 girl, and this one girl seems to be lifting her dress with a funny hat. I was able to swap some body parts around, and with quite a bit of green stuff putty, make that dress look very Russian, very heavy, as like the Russian girl, and created myself a very nice nudie porno Mecha Musume figure. For anyone who has delved deep into the genre and some of the Fukaman artworks, he's done this sort of thing, though a toy has never accurately reflected this. Put one together, painted it, love it.